Hey collectors! Welcome back to my channel, Duncan the Collector. Today we're going to try and do a mega quick review. Today we're going to take a look at the Mattel Jurassic World Dominion Giganotosaurus. We're also going to take a look at the Legacy Collection Kosmoceratops and Pachycephalosaurus. I cannot wait to get these guys unboxed, so let's not waste any more time. Now that we have everything out of the box, it all looks great. Why don't we start with the Pachycephalosaurus? She looks great. This is a reused sculpt, but it looks fantastic. There's so much detail with tons of scales, muscle tone, wrinkles, and creases. I really love how much scoots there are running up her legs and her arms. Her fingers are spaced very strangely, and it looks kind of weird. As for her paint job, it looks pretty good. Her dusty beige and dark blue patterns look great. It looks really accurate to the Lost World. Although I don't really like this brown on her chest, but it's not the worst. As always, there's a little pull tab on her back. If you pull it out, it reveals the scan code for the Jurassic Facts app. And there it is if you'd like it. Before we move on, let's take a quick look at her action feature. When you push down her tail, her neck cocks in, and then she butts her head. It's kind of a gorky feature, and she kind of looks like a Pez dispenser, but it's pretty fun. Overall, this is a great Pachycephalosaurus, and probably my favorite one. Now, let's look at the Kosmoceratops. First thing, this is a legacy figure, but this creature has never really been in the series. The only time it showed up was in Fallen Kingdom as a skeleton in the Lockwood Manor. But otherwise, the Cosmo has a fantastic sculpt. She has tons of scales. I really love all these little bumps on her body. There's also these little spikes / quills on her tail. Her head has an amazing sculpt. There are all these horns on her crest. I really love these curved horns at the top of her crest. There's also these horns that look like icicles. Her two large horns look great. There's also this little protrusion on her snout. Now, as for her paint, it's pretty lackluster. She's almost entirely cast in medium green. It's hard to see, but there's a lighter green on her back. Her head isn't the best. There's this nice reddish orange on her crest and snout. There's also this white pattern on her crest. Her horns and spikes on her crest aren't my favorite. I think it was intentional, but there's a fair amount of overspray around her side spikes. It's also annoying that her horns, snout protrusion, cheek spikes, and beak aren't painted. I have to say, the eyes might be my least favorite thing about this figure. No detail and no gloss. Now, let's look at her action real quick. Like the Pachycephalosaurus, if you push down on her tail, her head raises up. If you pull it up, her head lowers. It's not the most exciting, but it's pretty cute. As always, there's a pull tab on her back. When you pull it out, it reveals the scan code for the Jurassic Facts app. And there it is if you'd like it. Overall, she's a fairly nice figure, but probably my least favorite of the three. And finally, let's go over the Giganotosaurus. Now this is pretty cool. She has so much detail. She has tons of scales, lots of osteoderms, scoots, spikes, and scars. Her paint job is pretty cool. With all the osteoderms and the color, it makes her look very crocodilian. I have to say, I absolutely love her raised spines. They look so magnificent with all the bony detail. Her legs have so much detail. This is where most of the scale and wrinkle detail is. There's also a lot of scars. Her dew claws look pretty nice, but of course they aren't painted. But they do stick out a fair amount. Her feet are pretty nice as well. They have some really great scoot detail. They also seem very proportionate. Her arms look pretty good. They have a fantastic amount of muscle tone and scales. Now, let's look at the head. It looks pretty awesome. Her brow bone looks fantastic. Her eye looks really good as well, but there's no gloss on it. I really love the lip scales that are on her mouth. Her teeth are molded in a separate plastic, so you don't have to worry about paint chipping either. The mouth is pretty good with a nice light pink color. Now, the Giganotosaurus does suffer from quite a few inaccuracies. Most of them are at the head. First off, her head is way too wide. Her upper teeth are supposed to overlap the bottom ones as well. The top of her head is also missing quite a bit of detail. And finally, her tail is supposed to be missing a couple spines. But overall, she looks great. As always, there is a pull tab. Pull it out and it reveals the scan code for the Jurassic Facts app. And there it is if you'd like it. Now, let's take a quick look at her actions. Next to the scan code, there is a large button. When you press it, she does her striking action. Underneath that button, there is another. When you press that, she does her roar action. You can press both at the same time for a large roar. Now, let's address the massive elephant in the room, her waist. It's not very good and it doesn't really ever stay in a neutral position. It makes the Giga look really weird. It's tricky, but it is possible to get her to have it upright and make her look a little less weird. The action is fun, but it is definitely the worst thing about this figure, and it's a thing collectors will definitely hate. But besides the terrible waist, it's a pretty good figure. Now here are my final thoughts. The Pachycephalosaurus is a pretty great figure. Her paint job is fantastic. It was pulled straight from the Lost World. I think this is Mattel's best one personally. Now, as for the Cosmo, it's got a fantastic sculpt and a pretty cute action, but its paint job is very lackluster. There isn't much there, and what is isn't the best. I'd say unless you like what paint is there, maybe wait for a repaint. Now, the Giganotosaurus has a fantastic sculpt, pretty cool actions, and a pretty nice paint job, but she does suffer from quite a few inaccuracies, and also her upper body, of course, does not stay upright at all. She's also fairly expensive, being $80 Canadian, so I'd say maybe wait for a cheaper re-release. But otherwise, she's pretty good. Alright, I guess that's it for now. So if you've enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons, and if you didn't, hit the dislike and unsubscribe buttons. If you like toy photography, pictures of Cheddar the cat, Cheetah the dog, or Daisy the dog, follow me on Instagram. If you'd like your collection to be featured in a video, message me in the comments down below. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, bye for now, and have fun collecting!